Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Also, there are USDA prime Angus burgers, as well as Angus steaks and chops too. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, and a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Big welcome in everybody watching on TV in select markets, on Pick Your Favorite Cable Provider, as well as Hotel TV, where applicable, and everybody streaming, as well as those on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Make sure to check out that fun group, Chicago Food Favorites, on Facebook. All right, we're going to change it up a little bit here. We're going to have some fun, do something a little bit different, because that's what we do here. Listen. Everybody at some point has a birthday. Well, guess what? We also have birthday celebrations. We like to go to sporting events for games and those big picnic areas and whatnot. And we like to have the group, I don't know, up to 5, 10, 20 people. Who knows? Maybe if you're really popular, it could be 100 people or more. But when we think about promotions, me personally, I think of free food. And I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. I think of food all over town. Everywhere I could go, somebody's got a free something or another, and I'm going to find it. But what about when you want to go to a ball game? Let's just say you happen to be in the greater New York, New Jersey market, like some of our people here, or maybe you're the greater LA market or the greater Las Vegas market, like right here in Las Vegas, Chicagoland, or down in Dallas, Atlanta. Of course, we have our audience down in Atlanta as well, etc. and so forth. I guess a lot of people like to go to those baseball games. They'll go to hockey games or basketball games. I mean, football games, boy, it's awfully expensive to get a group right there. But we think about the sports with a whole bunch of games in their season. That's why baseball, we're going to stick with it because there's 162 games in the season. And we ask ourselves, what kind of promos are out there? And that's the one thing we don't really know. I mean, look, many pro sports teams like the Royals, the Washington Nationals, and the Yankees, they have all kinds of cool promos like birthday packages and promos for their fans, including discounted tickets, concession, or other items. And of course, some teams also have specific options for birthday parties, like the Las Vegas Aviators, offering a package with tickets and food and souvenirs and whatnot. In fact, I just saw this. I have to tell you this. This was pretty cool. 12 tickets, 12 novelty ice creams, 12 kids' meals, hot dogs, chips, juice box, whatever. I don't really know that's a kid's meal, but anyway, we'll get back to that in a minute. 12 Aviator baseballs, free t-shirt for the birthday child, etc. and so forth. You want to talk about a good promo, and that would be the AAA team for the Athletics, which we're just going to leave them as the Athletics right now. And I'll tell you what, that is one hell of a package. Out of all the things that I have found, all the promos that I have found, that is the clear-cut champion right here in Las Vegas. There are some good ones out there, but this one is really good. And you have to ask yourself, well, what are the limitations on these birthday, I don't know, it's not just birthdays, but just going into the stadium in the first place. And you ask yourself, all right, what are the limitations? What can I do? And so forth. And I'll get into those limitations in just a minute. But and I'm going to talk about that for a minute because in the upcoming few minutes here, anyway, I'm tripping over myself, but it is what it is. So the reason we're going to go over that is because sometimes you could bring celebratory food in to stadiums, and many stadiums you cannot. Now, Yankee Stadium happens to be one that you can, and we'll jump into that in just a second here. But think about the discounted tickets and concessions. These are other promos. I mean, many teams offer discounted tickets for birthday celebrations, often with options to add concession or merchandise credit. So, for example, the Royals offer a birthday package that includes tickets for the birthday person and up to 7 friends with specific seating and game exclusions. But that's pretty darn good. I mean, the Royals, man, you guys are doing it over there, and I kind of like that. Everybody gets to see Bobby Witt Jr. and company, and tell you what, the Royals are a quality organization from top to bottom. Of course, one of our longtime friends with the Kansas City Royals in the past, which would be the great Brett Saberhagen. Brett is one of those guys. Brett was on the show here. Brett and his wife, Candace, were doing a cooking show for a minute. That was pretty cool. But anyway, you have to check that out on a previous episode of the Sports Circus as well. Now, the Washington Nationals offer a $20 credit per ticket for concession and merchandise for fan club members. So the trick is, folks, in many of these cases, you'll actually have to join some kind of a fan club or some kind of a rewards club or whatnot. And I've experienced this recently myself, where if you don't join these clubs, then you don't get the promo. You don't get the birthday bonus or whatever the heck it is. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be, but in any event, that's usually what it is. So you don't get those. So you got to be sure to download the app. And what was interesting is somebody told me recently is that, well, you're going to have to give up your privacy to get your free stuff. And of course, first thing I thought was, come on, man. Come on. But then again, I said, all right, fine. It's free. It's worth the particular item that I got. So I said, okay, fine, because I could just delete the app anyway. It doesn't really matter, although you do end up on their list. But anyway, there are birthday party packages as well. Now, with Major League Baseball and their minor league affiliates, some teams have dedicated birthday party packages, of course, that include tickets, food, and other items. And of course, as I mentioned, the Las Vegas Aviators offer the package that includes tickets, ice cream, kids' meals, Aviator baseballs, and a free T-shirt for the birthday boy or girl. You know, just thinking about that, I guess the kids' meal. And the kids' meal, to me, that was a little bit of a, I don't know, it doesn't seem right. All right, so you get hot dogs, chip, a juice box. All right, so first of all, the hot dog's not good for you. Secondly, the chip's not good for you. And third, the juice box is typically all sugar anyway. So I'm trying to figure out what part of that equals a kid's meal. Well, you think a kid's meal might have some fresh item in it, such as maybe celery or carrot sticks or something like that. Something with some kind of value. And if they're going to give them some kind of a juice, it shouldn't be a juice box. Maybe it should be, for example, one of those Martinelli's pure apple juices, because that is really good stuff. It's just apple juice, nothing else. And I would imagine that, to me, that seems a little bit more reasonable as a kid's meal of sorts. But then again, what is a kid's meal in today's time? It's whatever you could jam down that kid's neck and get them to eat it without, they wonder, well, the kid's got this disease or that disease and whatever they so here, let's give it pills, because what do? We just jammed a bunch of sugar and a bunch of garbage down our kids' necks in the first place. And I was talking to one of my friends, Mr. You know who you are. And he was talking about, well, given the kids, he's an elementary school teacher, and kids get cookies and whatnot for rewards. I think he said that, and my other friend over in Arizona told me a similar thing. I think Nancy told me that as a 7th grader, the kids in the grades below, as a 7th grade teacher, she said that I guess they give them cookies as rewards or whatnot too, or something to that effect. In any event, I can't imagine if the kids are hyper, they're misbehaving, and they're getting out of control, and if you reward them with a sugar item, which is only going to amplify them a little bit more, it's sort of like a vicious circle. I'm not really sure how that one works, but what I think about these kids' meals for these birthday promos, and not even just a birthday promo, but these alleged meals that are supposed to be for kids, they're usually loaded with nitrates and sugars and really bad stuff, processed foods and whatnot. How in the world does that help a child? I will never, ever know. But look, the effort to be put forth, for example, by the Aviators, I tip my hat to the Aviators, because the Aviators, that would be the athletic AAA team, they're actually doing, I guess, probably the best promo for everybody else, than all the baseball teams and football, basketball, hockey teams and whatnot. I think that's probably the best case scenario as far as best bang for your buck. But I just wonder about this whole kids meal thing and chips and a hot dog. And they say, well, look, when adults go to the games, typically what do? They get a hot dog and they get their favorite adult beverage. Or if you go to a hockey game, you'll get what? I know someone that always has to have a beer and a pretzel. And so me personally, I want popcorn, because I think about this. When I'm talking about buying something at a stadium, it's already drastically overpriced. I want the most bang for my buck. So I get popcorn for a very good reason, because popcorn, I get the most chews per dollar out of any other food concession item. Oh yeah, for doing that, but I get a lot of chews out of a bucket of popcorn for the same price as a pretzel. All right, back here in a few minutes with this birthday promo whatnot in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, the foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and accepted by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, and we are back here in Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. A big thanks for everybody tuning in on our affiliates and partners across the U.S., including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Of course, welcome into everybody else over, up, and down the West Coast, through the heartland, all the way down to Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, 1230 on the AM dial. That's home of the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of Atlanta, that's, by the way, thanks for driving home with us. Over at Atlanta, thanks for waking up with us at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday on 99.1 FM WDJY. And, of course, a big hello to our friends on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, and independent cable television affiliates, as well as hotel TV, where applicable, as well as Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Deezer, all other streaming platforms as well, plus on Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites. Folks, make sure you check out Chicago Food Favorites. Post your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes, and talk about your favorite foods. Doesn't really matter. Just have some fun with it. It started out as just an idea, just a fun thing. Now there's about 2,300 members of that group, and I keep growing it. I'm the administrator, so don't spam the group either, because then we'll have to remove you. All right, folks. All right, back here. By the way, this segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right, talk about birthday promos at stadiums and whatnot. And look, you can get discounted tickets and concession and other benefits, this, that, and the other. Las Vegas Aviators is where I left off previously, talking about all the great things that they do. And I have to tell you, they have some really good promos. They give away not only meals for kids, they also have the ticket packages. They give ice cream away, as well as baseballs, plus a free t-shirt to the birthday boy or girl. That's really good stuff. So when you think about, where do I want to go spend my birthday money? What stadium, if I want to go to a stadium? And let's just stick with the sports side of it, because some people like to obviously do different things for their birthdays and whatnot. And I had one. And I set out on a mission to go get a whole bunch of food, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the birthday packages at different stadiums, some really go above and beyond. The Kansas City Royals do a really good job. In fact, they do the best job out of the big league parks that I found. And I haven't really found a whole lot of good promos for the NBA or for the NHL. They offer a few things here and there, but it's really the baseball stadium. So if your birthday is anywhere really between sometime in March and I guess we go all the way to spring training, we can go back to February. It just depends on the stadium, I suppose. But if you're basically a spring, summer, or fall child, your birthday is anywhere in there, you're in luck, because baseball stadiums do a lot more, in my opinion, than hockey, football, or basketball situations. And so you say, well, what about the other sports? Well, maybe soccer does. I don't know. As far as I see it, soccer is important, but it's not one of the four major food groups of sports in the United States, although it has grown tremendously in popularity. However, back to these packages. Some teams have dedicated birthday party packages that include, of course, tickets, food, and some other benefits. I've mentioned the Aviators, of course, with their ice cream and kids' meals and baseballs and T-shirts. And look, there are some other ones, of course, where they have pregame recognition or video board messages for birthday celebrations. Of course, you know, the Yankees, they have that fan marquee message on their scoreboard, of course, for a fee, just like other stadiums do too. Now, the Yankees are an interesting situation because, hey, first of all, it's the New York Yankees, right? And if your name is on the board at Yankee Stadium, you've done something right. Either A, you've lived another day to see your name on the board at Yankee Stadium. But let's face it, that is one of the gold standards, probably the gold standard as far as baseball goes. And I would argue in all of sports. Yankee Stadium is probably that, and Madison Square Garden. Those are the most recognized names for stadiums, as I see it, in the world. Unless somebody wants to correct me, the Rose Bowl is right up there too, but let's face it, Yankee Stadium is Yankee Stadium. I've been to the older Yankee Stadium before they built this new one, or the newer one, I should say, because this one's been around for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, if I'm not mistaken at this point, maybe more. Who the heck knows? The older Yankee Stadium was not really that nice. It just seemed like it was kind of thrown together, and I don't know. I mean, the new Yankee Stadium, as you look at it now, you're like, wow. I mean, this is a palace. But having your name on the board there is kind of a big deal. Now, the Orioles also offer something. And the Orioles, of course, you can purchase commemorative birthday or anniversary messages, whatever, on the Oriole Park scoreboard. And it costs $40, but here's what happens. Now, that $40 is actually a donation to the Orioles Charitable Foundation. Now, that's good stuff. Now, the Yankees don't do that, so here, keeping in the same division, the Orioles actually donate their money. Now, that's really cool. So they'll give you, your message will be displayed on their scoreboard between the 6th and 8th innings during breaks. And, of course, keep an ear out for an announcement from the PA announcer that will signal when the scoreboard message will be displayed. Now, at Yankee Stadium, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's right around the 4th inning, so you don't have to wait as long at Yankee Stadium. Now, and of course, anniversaries and whatnot, they're also available. So the Orioles also offer a small quantity of solo boards. So you can actually get one of the other boards, of course, subject to availability, and that's for $85. And so the shared message is $40, and that will consist only of the birthday boy or girl's name. And that's okay, but I'll tell you what, for an extra 45 bananas, which seems to be like the cost of a beer these days or whatnot, you know, I have to sidetrack for a second. I went to go see Jerry Seinfeld at Caesar's Palace here. And I tell you what, Jerry puts on one hell of a show. That's right. Jerry gets the super applause. Jerry gets the super applause because he really put on a good show. And you think about this. So walking into, and mind you, it was a birthday comedy thing, right? So this is a sports and entertainment show. So it was a birthday comedy concert, so to say. So I walk in, I'm with somebody, and what do they do? Well, I'd like a glass of Chardonnay. And I'm thinking, okay, glass of Chardonnay. I don't know. I don't drink wine, so I have no idea. And the lady on the other side of the counter says, oh, that would be $68. $68. Is that not complete lunacy? Show me the money! 68 bananas for a glass of wine. And of course, the other party turns around and says, I could buy multiple bottles of Chardonnay for $68. Which is true. It's true. And me, I just said, look, why don't you just get a beer? It says $17.95, which is sort of what we've been conditioned to pay at the Vegas Golden Knights games here, because in fact, they start out at basically $18, and then every round you go up in the playoffs, it's another $1 for the drink, as I seem to recall. And so I said, why don't you just get a beer? It's $17.95. You can go get your favorite, whatever it was, whether it's Blue Moon, this one, that one, whatever. And so the lady goes, oh, yeah, the beers are $20 a piece. I'm like, what do you mean $20 a piece? It says right there in black and white, $17.95. She goes, oh, yeah, that's what with tax and everything. I'm like, could you tell me what everything is? Because I want to know. Hey, I don't care. I want value. And if you calculate it out, it's not $20. No, it's less than that because the tax rate isn't that high in the first place. So ultimately, I guess my point is, not only do you have to watch what you're getting, but you have to question the prices because it seems that the cashiers in some particular places and the bartenders will conveniently round up. So it looks like one bill. Now, it's a lot easier to dig into your pocket and pull out, for example, a 20 rather than a 10, a 5, and 4 singles. It's a lot harder to pull those up because not too many people will carry cash in the first place, but let alone have that sort of variety in their pocket. And me personally, I'm one of those guys. I don't like to carry things that are under a $5 bill. I really don't like to carry singles because they tend to bulk things up. But my point is, if you're going to tell somebody that that particular item is $20, you better be able to prove it, because I proved otherwise that it was $17.95 plus tax. But then again, if you're not going to note tax on the receipt, which they seem not to, then it looks like they're charging you an extra $2.05. So this was a birthday celebration. And so the last thing you want to do is, number one, get ripped off. And by the way, the parking was $35 with no local discounts. $35 to park at Caesar's Palace. And of course, when asked, do you have a locals only, because some of the hotels do, the MGM Resort, MGM Grand, actually no, not the MGM Grand, it's the MGM Resorts International. Their entire chain, they have a 3-hour parking maximum for locals, so you don't have to pay. But Caesar's Palace apparently only has it on weekends where the people have to pay. I don't know, weekdays maybe they don't. But when asked, the customer service guy said, no, it's $35 to park. You'll have to pay it. Which, of course, that deserves an astounding round of boos. That's not cool. How do you bait and switch people? I don't know. And we'll get to that in a minute, too. This is all part of this whole birthday celebration discussion, whether it's a ballpark. Now, I just happen to jump onto stadiums here, or jump onto comedy. Tell you what, when we come back from break, I want to pick up on that, because there's some real concerns there that people need to know about. And don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which can be found on all streaming platforms. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. One of those is Al's #1 Italian Beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you can't get over there for some really good food, check them out at alsbeef.com, and you can learn all about the Italian beef sandwich, its origin. These are the creators. Al's Beef has been around since 1938, serving up some incredible food, one of my favorites. Check them out, folks, at alsbeef.com or, again, at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. All right, lots of other great partners there. You can read about those, of course, at your own convenience. Welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. Talking about birthday celebrations and whether it's at a stadium, whether it's at, I guess, a gigantic casino, whatnot. I left off talking about Caesar's Palace, which is one of my favorite places on earth. And it's probably about 5 minutes away from my studio right here. And Caesar's Palace had Jerry Seinfeld, of course, as their comedian. One of their comedians there that was doing a regular gig, I'd say maybe a couple, 3 days, whatever the heck it is. That's how they do them. And so I went to go see Jerry. What a great show that was. Got to tell you, great. Jerry Seinfeld, just a phenomenal comedian live. You could tell the guy really gives a damn about his craft. And man, this guy is good. But anyway, having an episode at the concession stand where they charge basically $68 plus tax and everything else, I guess, for a glass of wine if you're a wine drinker. Thank God I'm not. Or basically $20 for a beer when they really say it's $17.95. You ask yourself, where does it end? And do organizations have to keep gouging and gouging and gouging? Baseball stadiums, some of them do a really good job. Like I said, the Royals do a good job. The Las Vegas Aviators, which is the AAA team for the Athletics, right here in Vegas, they do a really good job for parties and whatnot. And there's some real value to be had out there. And even the Orioles, they donate their money for their scoreboard. If you want to put your name up on the scoreboard for a birthday message, they do a good job too. And so, and I would also argue that even at Yankee Stadium, look, Yankee Stadium, they do a pretty good job with what they offer too. And look, you ask yourself, they have, first of all, a big fan marquee there, right? Personalized messages, they start at $150. But again, folks, it's Yankee Stadium, like I said before. And the message appears on the main high-definition video board in center field, and of course, also is read out over the stadium PA system. Now, that's pretty darn cool. You're actually allowed up to 80 characters, too. Certainly worth the $150, because when's the last time you had your name on the marquee and your name on the PA at Yankee Stadium? Me, personally, I never have, so I think that would be pretty darn cool. And then you say, all right, what about the rest of the experience? Maybe they don't offer great meal birthday things, whatever. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I'll tell you what Yankee Stadium does offer is that 99 burger. And folks, if you've never had it, you're in for a real treat. Those 99 Aaron Judge burgers are sold, of course, per game. And of course, weekend afternoon games. And listen, they're $20. They're $19.99, whatever. And listen, this is a real good burger. It is Wagyu beef patties, by the way. You actually get a couple of these, and it is a pretty good sized burger. Basically, you're getting a half-pound monster Wagyu burger with cheese, caramelized onions, dill pickle on a brioche bun. And that's real bang for buck at a stadium, because you typically don't get that. And really, if you want to share it with somebody, you can open face it. It's like, here, you take half, I take half. And that's really a good deal in the grand scheme of things. So you say, well, is it really worth my while to do something like that? Look, if you don't like the 99 burger, again, that is a really good option at Yankee Stadium. You have other items too. Now remember, they also have the Lobo steak sandwich. It's about $21, and it is a pretty darn good steak sandwich. That's right, I said sandwich. But it's one of those ones that, look, when you think about stadium food, what do we usually think of? A hot dog, popcorn hot dog. That's basically it, right? Popcorn hot dog, maybe a pretzel, cotton candy. Of course, I got to have my cotton candy, and peanuts, right? These are your standard baseball items. But now you're talking about steak burgers, steak sandwiches, Wagyu burgers and whatnot, all at Yankee Stadium, that's really good stuff. And when you think of the bang for buck, look, even if you're one of those, now me personally, I'm not a corned beef pastrami kind of a sandwich guy, but of course, New York is famous for that. And think about this. They have this monstrosity New York Yankees sandwich. That's right. I said sandwich. It is a 3/4-pound combo of hot corned beef, pastrami, Swiss, and of course, your choice of condiments on toasted rye. And I have to say that it's one of the biggest stadium sandwiches I've ever seen. And just when we're talking about sandwiches alone, I mean, that is one hell of a deal. Now, realize Yankee Stadium also has other stuff too. Why are we talking about it? Because they have pretty darn good food in there. And we're talking about the Bobby Burger from Bobby Flay. They have buckets of chicken. It's like $20 or so for a bucket of chicken, which actually is like a party hat on top of it. So they've got a really good situation over there. In fact, back to that bucket of chicken, it's about $20, $23 here. And typically includes, of course, chicken tenders or chicken sliders with fries and whatnot. Some people consider it a really good value. Others say, well, it's a little overpriced. But when you look at the images of it, it looks like a party hat. So it fits on top of your giant jumbo drink, I suppose. But it's one of those rare things that you can get at a stadium. Just like in Chicago, you can actually get deep dish pizza at the stadium as well as Italian beef sandwiches, which, of course, are native to Chicago. And I have to say, the food at, I don't even want to call it the Rate Field, because it's been called so many different things. When they first built it, they called it U.S. Cellular Field, then it was this field, then that field. It's just the stadium where the White Sox play. They have better food on the south side of town than at Wrigley Field, in my opinion. And it's not because I severely dislike the Cubs. It just happens to be that they seem to have better food on the south side. And it's probably because when you think of the local neighborhoods and the demands for the stadium foods and whatnot, look, at Yankee Stadium, when you're in the Bronx, I mean, you got choices over there, but you don't have as many choices as you do on the north and south sides of Chicago. Because Yankee Stadium, you're all in over there. But the reality is, the food at all of those stadiums that I just mentioned are pretty good, even on the north side of Chicago. But the food variety, in my opinion, is better on the south side of Chicago. Now, the question is, with New York, do the Mets have better food than the Yankees? I don't necessarily believe they do. I think Yankee Stadium has better food. But more importantly, if it's for birthdays and celebrations, how much of that are you going to eat anyway is the big question. Are you already going to walk in there knowing, A, I've got dinner after the game, or I've just had dinner walking into a night game, so I'm not really looking for food. I'm looking more for drinks and promos and specials. And I think that's really where this one is going. But either way, I don't care whether you're in Washington, you're in Kansas City, you're at Dodger Stadium, which is still one of the great ballparks in America, or you could be up in Seattle. In Seattle, boy, you want to talk about a mecca for good food. Seattle has phenomenal food. And you ask yourself, are the birthday packages, the birthday celebrations worth the while in a big league stadium? I'm going to say unequivocally, they absolutely are. And by the way, folks, it's a great experience. It's a lot of fun to go to those games with your friends anyway. It doesn't matter if it's a bad team. And you say, well, you know, maybe I want to go to a ball game and spend, I don't know, some time with maybe my coworkers are celebrating with me. Maybe there's 15 or 20 of us or something like that. But the birthday celebrations at the ballparks are always a lot of fun because not only that, you can get an unexpected souvenir. You could end up catching a foul ball, but you're there with possibly tens of thousands of other people. Everybody's having a good time, and, well, you hope they are anyway. But more importantly, you're there in a happy place with a lot of happy people generally because they went out of their way to spend some money to do what? Have a good time. And you're basically there doing the same thing. It's almost like going to a gigantic party. That's why a lot of people like to come right here to Las Vegas for birthdays because what could they do? Well, let's face it. They could celebrate in a casino where hopefully everybody hasn't necessarily just lost their money, but people are generally happy when you walk through one of the strip casinos, not necessarily off strip unless you're at a couple of handful of ones because I'm not going to get into the names of those. But there are some where people are happier seemingly than others. But more importantly, people will get together to go to these happy places, have a good time. And when I think of birthday celebrations, I like going to comedy concerts, music concerts, or ball games, or out to the casino, the nightlife and whatnot, and watch the lounge acts and whatnot. And by the way, folks, a good act to watch, and you can check him out, is Jason Owens, country music star Jason Owens. Check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. And Jason has played Vegas over 200 times. That's incredible. Oh, he used to play once in Las Vegas, let alone 200. That is insanity. But when we think about going out, let's go out and have a good time, whether it's our favorite restaurant, our favorite ball game, our favorite this, our favorite that. I mean, that's what these birthday celebrations are. In fact, in the next segment, I'm going to tell you what I did for a birthday, and you're going to laugh at me for this, but that's okay, because I was laughing as well as all the other places that I visited. They were laughing along with me. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for, of course, our upcoming schedule, but also make sure you go to the store tab right across the top. Lots of great items available with the Sports Circus logo either embroidered or silk screened on it. Really good stuff. Hats, t-shirts, sweatpants, coats, pillows, travel mugs, coffee mugs, mouse pads, you name it, they're there. Check them out, thesportscircus.com store. A shameless plug, of course, for the Sports Circus. All right, welcome back to everybody. Of course, on all of our affiliates, radio and TV, you know who you are. And in this segment, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about a fun birthday experience that I had. And this is something that everybody can do right there in your own town, your own city, wherever you're at. And let's have a little fun with this. So I said, all right, my birthday was coming up. So I said, all right, let's go ahead and see what we can do and see how much free stuff we can actually accumulate. That's right. Free stuff. I like free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff? All right, so I said, all right, I'm going to plan my day out accordingly. And so what I did was, this was probably a couple of days beforehand. I said, all right, let's get some kind of a semblance of a map. We're going to take all the free stuff that we could find, and we're going to basically take a very efficient trip around town trying to find where we can get some things. So I started off at Denny's and got my Grand Slam breakfast. And yes, the Grand Slam breakfast, that's a free thing. But what I realized was when I got to Denny's, I mean, first of all, it was free, but I'll get to that in a minute, the rest of it. But they did not have regular eggs that they were just like you can crack and put, because I ordered my pancakes with it, and I wanted my eggs on top with the butter, of course. So there was basically over easy on the top. So you break the yolk, and that's essentially the syrup for it with the butter. So unfortunately, they didn't have that, so I had to get scrambled eggs, which wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it was free. Yet they said you have to have a coupon, and I said no. All I have to have is my ID. And so I showed the manager my ID, and they said you're free to go. So that was a nice free breakfast, of course, from Denny's. All right, and they do offer it. It's good stuff. All right, so from there, I said, all right, well, mind you, I got off to a late start on this particular date. It said, well, let's go ahead and stop at Nothing Bundt Cake. Now, if you've never been there, folks, boy, they have incredible. Look, by the way, I'm not getting any free anything outside of what I got for the birthday stuff. I'm not getting any promo anything, so there's a non-commercial message and all this other stuff. So for all you non-commercial stations that carry this show, no, I'm not saying a call to action to go buy this or buy that. I'm telling you my experience. So Nothing Bundt Cake has just phenomenal cakes. They have the big cakes, of course, for your regular. Then they have the little cakes, of course, for personal desserts. Well, you go in there, and of course, you show them your ID, and sure enough, you get yourself a little cake. And they say you should sign up for the app. That's kind of a common theme here. So anyway, I got myself one of those iced lemon mini bundt cakes that I have to tell you that was probably the best thing out of everything that I got as far as taste-wise. But the other things are good. I'm going to keep going to that. So after having that, then I went over to Starbucks. Now, I'm not a coffee drinking person. It's just not my thing. However, Starbucks says, well, you get a free drink. Well, if you read the fine print, you actually get free drink or a free food item. So I walk in there thinking, well, I don't really drink coffee or anything like that, but do I want another food item? Because I just had the Grand Slam breakfast. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to hold off on that. I could have got all kinds of things that they have there for food at Starbucks. However, I said, I'm just going to take the biggest damn drink I could find. The lady goes, all right, well, what do you want? I said, honestly, I don't like anything here for the most part, drink-wise. But I said, maybe you can concoct something that I may find okay. And she said, well, what do you like? I said, well, if it's anything like kind of like this in this realm, I'm going to go with a Thai tea. Can you make me a Thai tea? And the lady said, well, no, we don't have that. But she goes, what's in it? And I said, I don't know, man. It tastes pretty good anyway. I mean, a Thai tea, don't ask me how the popcorn pops. I just So anyway, it turns out that I end up getting this drink, and it had chai, whatever chai is. And then it had, she put coconut milk in it, I guess thinking the Thai theme. And then after the coconut milk, she put some kind of a brown sugar frosting froth, whatever the heck on top. I don't even know what it was. All I know, it was the equivalent, in my opinion, of one of those big gulps of just that drink. And of course, I have to tell you, I was twitching all afternoon from drinking this thing. But in any event, so I went from there over to, I went to Pink Box to get a donut. Because, of course, you get a free donut at Pink Box. You also get a free donut at Randy's Donuts on the West Coast. So you're talking really good donuts. And you get free donuts, of course, at Krispy Kreme. So mind you, after stopping at all of those places, I end up going over to Jason's Deli, which happened to be right across the parking lot from Pink Box Donut. And Jason's Deli, if you're here on the West Coast or in the Vegas Valley, they happen to have these really good restaurants called Jason's Deli. And I got, of course, my choice of a free dessert. And so what did I do? I went right for the biggest one I could find, which was a double-deck strawberry shortcake. Oh, yeah. And that was really, really good. That was a good one. So I'm on a roll right now. I've already stopped at 6-7 different places, maybe more. And I said, all right, well, let's keep on trucking. And I'm already at capacity because, mind you, with the Grand Slam breakfast, I had the eggs, the bacon, the pancakes. I had a stack of pancakes, right? So now I go over from Jason's Deli to Firehouse Subs. And Firehouse Subs, you normally get your free submarine sandwich there. And when I walked in there, they said, oh, it's your birthday. Great. Do you have the app? I'm like, as a matter of fact, I do. I downloaded the app. And they said, okay, great. What kind of sub would you like? I said, well, I want the roast beef sandwich and whatever. And they said, well, can we see the app on your phone? Sure. Oh, sorry, sir, you don't have the free meal or the free sandwich on your app. I'm like, well, look, it's my birthday. Here's my ID and so forth. And they said, sorry, we can't help you. I'm like, what do you mean you can't help me? So Nick was the manager at the Firehouse Subs on Wallapai and Charleston on the west side of town here in Las Vegas. So it was a little frustrating. So that's the Summerlin area. Most of you have probably heard it if you've been to Las Vegas at some point. I was a little bit disappointed because I'm thinking, okay, I've always been able to go to the Firehouse Sub on West Lake Mead right here in Las Vegas, 7200 West Lake Mead, and they'd always just give it to me because here's my ID. All right, fine. I show it to this guy, Nick, the manager. It's like, sorry, I can't help you. I'm like, okay, so you're turning away the birthday boy because you can't help me. Are you the manager? Yes, I am the manager. I'm like, okay, no problem. We'll be in touch with the franchisee. All right, so I left there a little disappointed, needless to say. And then 3 doors down, in the same strip mall, happened to be one of those cookie places called Crumble. And this is where the wheels come off. When I walked in there, I was like, wow, I want one of those gigantic cookies. I can do that. So I walked in, I downloaded the app, because that's what they say, download the app. And as I'm up there, just about ready to order my cookie, the lady goes, oh, can I see your app? Absolutely. Here's the app. Oh, sorry, sir. You have to be a silver member to get one of these free cookies. And of course, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? A silver member? What the hell's a silver member? Well, sir, you have to read the fine print. I'm like, I read the fine print. There was nothing in there that said I had to be a silver member, just like the thing with Firehouse Subs. Now, I'm losing my mind now. So now I'm 0 for my last 2. And the lady, she was extremely rude and very, we'll say very curt, very short, very condescending. Oh, you're still here? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Bye. And she kept doing that kind of thing. I'm thinking, okay, Crumble Cookies, that is a terrible representation. And I said that I was going to single you guys out on this show, which I absolutely am doing just like with Firehouse. So Crumble Cookies really gave me a bad way to go with that. I was very, very discouraged with that. And then it was Jersey Mike's turn. Jersey Mike's offers a free sub, but then there's a whole bunch of fine print. Now, they don't say the fine print on the website or anything like that. It's somewhere internal. So they say, oh, by the way, you have to have the app for 1 year before using it for a free birthday. And it doesn't say that anywhere in their birthday policy that I found. So now that is 3 in a row that are not good. So now I'm reeling a little bit, and I said, okay, fine. And I went to, where else did I go? Oh, geez. I went to Jack in a Box, got 2 free tacos there, and moved on. Okay, so Then went to the Jerry Seinfeld concert at Caesar's Palace, and afterwards said, you know what, I'm not done with this free food thing yet because there's still some time left on the clock. So I went over to IHOP, and IHOP, I've got the stack of 5 pancakes and a big slab of butter on top of it, and that was free. Boy, that was good stuff. And I ate every ounce of it. That's right. I'm already busting at this time. I'm so full. It's ridiculous. But after leaving there, I went back to Jack in the Box, different Jack in the Box, got 2 more free tacos. After there, I went to Del Taco, and this was probably my favorite one. I went to Del Taco because the experience was cool. So I'm in the drive-thru, and I said, I'm here to get my birthday meal. And it was just before 12, so I'm still on the clock. And the guy goes, well, I'm not familiar with that. I said, well, I read online that I can get a free birthday meal of sorts here at Del Taco. And they said, well, all right, tell you what. On the board in front of you, there are 14 different menu items. You just pick what you want and drive up and come see me. So I said, oh, cool. I'll take the double Del. It's a big, gigantic burger and fries and drink, whatever the hell. Mind you, I'm already at capacity, but now I'm just being gluttonous at this point. And I get up to the front, or up to the window, and the guy was super cool. His name was Leslie. Just a super cool guy on West Tropicana over near Jones, right here in Las Vegas. A very, very cool guy, and I have to tell you, this was a really nice way to end out the free food day. And by the way, folks, I just couldn't eat anymore. By the way, I still have a credit at McDonald's for 1 week that I could utilize. I still have a birthday month that I can use at Red Robin. And there are scores and scores of these all over the place. So what I'm trying to tell you, folks, I'm all about free. If I can get free stuff, free food, free this, free that, I'm taking it. But on your birthday, if you plan this right, you could literally eat for free for a month, every day somewhere, because that's what's out there. You just got to be willing to go out and find it, just like myself. That is my birthday discussion. It was fun, whether it's at a stadium, a club, a casino, a big venue, whatnot. There's lots of fun stuff to do on your birthday. So just don't sit around and sulk. Don't stare at the 4 walls. Go do something fun. And if you missed any part of this show, go back and listen to what I had said earlier about the baseball stadiums and the big celebrations and whatnot. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and happy birthday to you, whoever you are, and we'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.